Recently, I talked about Molmo, a multimodal language model. It's an open model that understands vision and it performs really well despite being a lot smaller than other models. So how did they do this? There's a theme that we've been hearing a lot about from all of these new small language models, which is use less but better data. So let's talk first about what Molmo did differently with their dataset. First of all, they actually released their dataset and they called it Pixmo. Within Pixmo, there are 6 different datasets that are all image to text pairs. Some datasets were used to teach Molmo to respond better to user inputs. Some datasets taught Molmo to point at things. And then there's this really important high-quality dataset that was generated by human annotators. What they had these humans do is look at images, provide a 60 to 90 second long spoken description of what they saw in that image, and then they transcribed and normalized the responses. All of this data is used for both pre-training and supervised fine-tuning. But get this, they do not use RLHF. RLHF stands for Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback, and it's a technique that most LLMs use to make their models align better to human preferences. So it's interesting that they're able to achieve good results just with more traditional fine-tuning practices and not necessarily using reinforcement learning. Perhaps this is because the data and the responses are just that much better, so they don't need to have a human go in and tell the model how to do better. In terms of model architecture, they went with something that they call simple and standard. You have a preprocessor that takes the image and crops it into multiple crops. Then you have an image encoder that takes the image and turns it into vision tokens. Then you take those vision tokens and convert it into something that the LLM can understand. And finally, you have a decoder-only transformer LLM, which is probably the most common architecture for LLMs right now. This combination of having a vision encoder attached to an LLM is often called a vision language model. And that is a quick overview of Molmo.